Yeah, I was on the Metrolink today. Well, in Glasgow we still call them trams, and the talk amongst people who were chatting about football was all about Balotelli. It was genuinely excited, and I don't think they were all Manchester City fans either. It kind of occurred to me that this is what it was like when Manchester United Derek Cantona, because they had someone who was a genius in playing football, who didn't comply with rules, who didn't comply with anything to do with rules off the pitch either, and also who's someone who was just larger than life. And it seems to me that Manchester City may well have found their Eric Cantona, and I don't think there's going to be any greater accolade for Balotelli than that, if that's how it turns out.
You're comparing Balotelli with Cantona?
You call him a genius already?
What? He is a genius.
How can you call him
a genius?
He scores with his shoulder, for goodness sake.
No,
honestly, just because you guys never reached that level in your careers. Mario's done more in 6 months in English football to remember than you boys.
That is a ridiculous statement.
Absolutely. I think I love to watch him play.
It's a typical overreaction.
Yeah.
Just like people go, that's what we've got, black and white, completely overreaction. He hasn't even proved himself to play yet.
Can we just have an hands up? Who thinks Balotelli is on the same level as Cantona?
The Man City fans.
You lot, man.
They are the Man City fans.
5 people out of 300.
At the moment, Balotelli may be good for the press, good for the public, good for Man City. I would hate to manage him, I would have to admit, because when things are going well, you can see what he does, but you really don't know what's going to happen when things don't go well, as we saw last year. Now, if all of a sudden they lose a couple of games and he's substituted, he can upset, he can be disruptive, and what you want a consistent player. So yes, when things are going well, Balotelli's fantastic, but you really don't know what you're going to get from him.
John, did you see him go off yesterday? Mancini walked straight, they walked like that.
Listen,
didn't even cut.
Steve,
he is fine. It's exactly what you're saying. When things are great, he's great.
But he's still not fine. I mean, when he gets substituted, he's not happy and they're winning. But imagine
John,
when all of a sudden they stop winning.
It gets overlooked. It's the Baby Bentley scenario. When you're winning and you're playing and everything's going fine, the Baby Bentley in the car park doesn't exist.
Yeah.
When you're losing and you're not playing well, that's the biggest stick to beat him. And that's with him.
But why are you picking on Balotelli's?
I'm not picking on Balotelli.
Hang on, let me finish. Why are you picking on Balotelli's substitution yesterday when his reaction was nowhere near as bad as Theo Walcott's reaction when he got substituted?
You asked about Mancini's relationship with Balotelli, and what I'm saying is, we're trying to get a picture of it. Well, the picture yesterday was, as Balotelli walked off, Mancini's walking towards him. Now, so many times we see managers shake the hand of the player coming off, well done. Now, he's done all right, Balotelli, yesterday.
I think Roberto does it with everybody, though.
Well, that's what...
He does
is that the way to handle someone
the difference
like
with
that?
Walcott is that maybe Walcott may react to that. That's a one-off from Theo Walcott. He won't be doing that regularly. And if they win or they lose, Walcott will be consistent. In terms of Balotelli, things are going well, and this is the response. If they start to lose, that could be upsetting.
I'm not saying
the problems that you have, and the fighting that you have, and all the problems you have, isn't a problem when you're winning. When you start to lose, it could be a problem.
But you're all going on about stuff that's happened either off the pitch or on the training ground. You're not concentrating on what is a genius on the field.
A genius?
He's a genius. He does things that other players don't even think about doing, because he's completely instinctive footballer. He's got a talent which is so far unbridled.
I understand that, but is he going to be disruptive on the training field?
Well, Eric Cantona was disruptive.
Eric Cantona was disrupted at Manchester United. He was not disruptive in terms of on the training ground.
Being banned for 18 games for carrot kicking is not disruptive.
Yeah, but that's got nothing to do with the spirit. The spirit with Manchester United. Being banned had nothing to do with the spirit of Manchester United.
Most people don't know half the things Eric Cantona got away with behind the scenes that Art Ferguson let him off with.
But which of the players? He wasn't disrupted in terms of the players not liking Eric or fighting with the players.
Actually, yes, he was.
The manager.
Well, he was.
With who?
With 7 of his colleagues, yeah.
Name one instance.
Well, Roy Keane.
Well, Roy Keane falls out with everyone, doesn't he?
Oh, so that's okay then. Just because Roy Keane falls out, it doesn't mean...
Can we just say, if you come back in 5 years' time, and he's played 40 great games a season, he's got 20 goals, 25 goals, because you're putting him in that category.
No, I said...
Comes back in 5 years' time, I'll shake your hand and I'll say he's a genius.
Hang on.
He isn't a genius after 30 games in the Premiership.
Okay, right. I'll tell you a story, Steve. I'll tell you a story, right? Someone much more experienced in football than I. The first time I came across Mario Balotelli personally, as in someone who's talked to me about him, was with Jose Mourinho. He came to Stamford Bridge 2 seasons ago as Inter Milan boss. And I happen to know Mourinho quite well. We had a chat before he came into Stamford Bridge.
Just let me pick that name up for
name
you.
It's far too big for you to pick up, son. And I said to him, what's happening? What's happening, Jose? And he said,
Jose?
Jose. It's not Jose. Jose's Spanish. Jose is Portuguese.
Anyhow.
So he said, you'll never believe what happened in training this morning. They trained in Milan. They didn't train at Stamford Bridge. He said, Balotelli, I tell him to do something once, he ignores me. I tell him again, he ignores me. The third time I shout, Mario, Mario, and I won't swear. on air, but he said, do what you're told. Balotelli ran at him from 40 yards on the training pitch and tried to assault Mourinho. 2 of his coaches had to intercept him. At that point, Balotelli was left behind, out of a squad that was about to play a quarter-final second leg in the Champions League, and he said, he'll never play for me again. And I said to Mourinho, is he worth it? He said, Ian, he's a genius, but he's a flawed genius. Okay? So if I use genius, I'm using it because it was reported to me by the best coach in the world.
You can't go back on it, mate. You said it. You can't go back on it, mate. You said genius.
Okay, I agree with Jose Mourinho. He's a genius.
Roberto Mancini doesn't play him every week. He never played every week for Inter Milan. No. Cantona was first name on the team sheet every week. Yeah. If you're a genius, you play every single week. You don't have to stop at these points.
Got rid of him.